My name is Peter Ramos, also known as Primarch, and this is my Imperial Fists chapter. The Imperial Fist command sections consist of 5 sections of Tech Marines, 5 sections of Chaplains, 5 sections of Apothecarian, 5 sections of Librarians, and 5 sections of Spotters or Recon units. And of course we have a lone stand for the Chapter Master, which is in this case Lysander, since it was done in the days of older lore. So a big part of any Space Marine chapters, of course, it's infantry companies. And we'll start off with the first company, of course, in Terminator armor. I have done actually 4 variants of the first company due to the options, so I can have all the options available. The first of these companies are the standard Marines in Terminator armor with the occasional heavy weapon. This is the command segment. And they're usually armed with bolters and a power fist, storm bolters and a power fist. Then we move on to the second variant, which is a heavier variant where the number of heavy weapons are more common. So they have multiple heavy weapons in the forms of cyclone missile launchers or flamers or assault cannons. The third Terminator variant is the close combat variant, where they have, of course, a higher degree of either thunder hammers or lightning claws. The final variant is the standard power armor, so they use basically artificer armor, and of course they will be in rhinos in this case. So the meat of any chapter, of course, is battle companies. In this case, there are 4 battle companies. Each comes with, of course, the command section, the assault marine sections with the jump packs, the section of the Devastators, which have a higher degree of heavy weapons than a tactical stand, usually more missile launchers or a heavy plasma weapon or even a heavy flamer, and of course the tactical detachment. And there are a total of 4 such companies in this army. Then we have a total of 2 tactical companies. There are 3 detachments of tacticals with accompanying rhinos. There is 1 assault company, as composed of 3 detachments of all assault, with jump packs and their accompanying rhinos. I actually did the Devastator company in 2 forms. One is the conventional one where you have just a higher degree of heavy weapons in it, and they can be missile launchers, heavy flamers, like heavy plasma cannons. And then I did one with just flamer heavy weapons. Don't ask me why. I just felt like it would be a change, and this particular Devastator company just has all heavy flamers as their heavy weapon of choice. And of course we have the 10th Company, which is the Scout Company, their command section, and 3 detachments of scouts. Now that we're done with all the infantry companies, of course any chapter has a number of dreadnoughts, and these are the standard mortis pattern, the boxy one that everyone's familiar with different types of weapons on their arms, everything from the power claw, las cannons, and missile pods. Then we have a group here of the larger ironclad types with heavier weapons. And we also have some more of the ones they use in 30K, the Contemptor variants, again with different types of heavy weapons. Lastly, we have the Centurions, which should qualify, I guess, as a heavier infantry. There's a total of 100 of them, so if I wished, I can field the whole company dressed in Centurion armor. And they have the more basic assault type Centurions, and also the heavier siege types, which have like drills and other things to engage fortifications with. All chapters, of course, have a wide variety of light platform weapons. In this case, these are Thunderfire Batteries. They are manned by a squad of 2 servitors. The bases on these I had custom done so they are larger than the standard base to accommodate the crew of 2 servitors manning each gun. These are thud guns, also with their own servitors. In the back are the quad artillery guns. Then we have the rapier guns. And of course the robotic tarantulas that have no crew because they don't need any. Of course, any chapter worthy of the name has a large amount of armored vehicles at its disposal. We have the Land Raiders. I have 4 companies of the standard type and 15 of each variant that exists, everything from Prometheus to Helios to Redeemer and everything in between. These are the standard 4 companies. 10 of them. The command one has a little antennae on it. So that's 40 standard Land Raiders. The variants, each of them have 15. And those are the Land Raiders. Next we have the Predator detachments. There's a total of 5 variants, each of them with 15, so they comprehend all the existing different variants of Predators, at least when I assembled this army existed. They're not structured in company form, although they could be, so they're mainly 5 detachments of 3 vehicles each. There are a total of 30 Razorbacks with 2 turret types, with a twin gun and a single gun. One of my favorite models are the Vindicators from Space Marine Force. I have about 30 of them here. I'm always particularly fond of the dozer blades because they can give you the opportunity to have painted different designs on them. And I always thought it looked like a fun little model. Of course, the Whirlwinds are a classic model in any Space Marine Force. So there's about 30 of them here. And then we have the variant called the Imperius Whirlwind, which is a dedicated anti-aircraft. And we also have the more modern ones that have come out more recently that are dedicated AA batteries in their own right with the two types of guns. Now we have the range of fast attack vehicles, of course, land speeders being a staple in any Space Marine Force. There's about 30 models here, and each 5 represent a different variant of land speeder. We also have the attack bikes with the smaller little sidecar, which usually sports a heavy weapon of some type. Then we have more standard bikes. I have some character stands with banners that can usually represent a leader on a bike or a librarian or a chaplain, depending on the case. Now we finally get to the flyers. These are all custom models. This one in particular is a heavy transport. It's made out of completely in metal. It's actually a very heavy model. And the chapter sports several of these. It's probably one of the forum wear models that I like the most because it is a very detailed model and looks very nice. Now we come to probably one of the most iconic flyers for any Space Marine chapter, and my personal favorite model, the Thunderhawk Gunship. These are obviously forum wear models. They're quite large in comparison to the older models, but the detail on them is just striking, and of course the painting on this is just superb. I have several of these, and this is one variant. The second variant is the Thunderhawk Transporter. This is the Thunderhawk Transporter. You can see it's slightly different from the standard Thunderhawk. And again, it's done in the larger scale. Very nicely done models. Now, just in case you were thinking that all the love was for, the newer models, this is my favorite old-school model, which is one of the Thunderhawk variants that Games Workshop sold back in the day, which was all metal. Probably came around the Epic 40K era. It's larger than the original boxy one, but I always thought this was a great model. So when I did this army, even though I have like the newer, larger, correctly scaled one, I just liked this model so much that I had several of them painted. Now I have several of the older transports, which I believe were all metal and released in the time of EA, Epic Armageddon. And I have several of these as well. I like them because they're a nice contrast with the larger, heavier one. So you can make believe in game that the lighter ones will carry rhinos and the bigger one can carry heavier stuff like Land Raiders. And it's a nice visual contrast. Of course, Space Marine chapters have all sorts of flyers they can use, be it allied or more specific Space Marine ones. Here are some Thunderbolt squadrons and allied Marauder squadrons. The Marauders coming in 2 types, which are distinguished by the tail. These are done in the larger scale, so you can kind of compare them with the little bikes beneath them, so they're much larger than what the original models used to be. More recently, now Space Marines have smaller dedicated flyers. This is a group of Stormhawks and Storm Talons. Ironically, I do not have the boxy Storm Raven because I was dumb and sold them by accident. And unfortunately, the sources for them have dried up. So I will be 3D printing some, and to add, which is basically the only thing missing out of this whole army. Of course, another iconic unit is the drop pod. There are a total of 30 of them here, so I can basically drop 2 or 3 companies worth of the infantry with those here. But not only do we have the standard drop pods, we also have the pods, the specialist pods, starting with the Deathwing with its little missile pods. And we also have the support pods with heavy weapons. We also have Dreadnought drop pods for those moments when you want to drop something even worse upon your enemies. Just to give you an idea of the scale, this is one with a little boxy Dreadnought next to it. And these are what you would call Relic Flyers. They're Heresy era Storm Eagles and Fire Raptors. And with that, we conclude the showcase for this army. And of course, these 30K models are a good segue of what is to come. So stay tuned. I sometimes get a lot of questions as, to why, collecting on such a massive scale, and where did the things come from, and even how much things have cost. So just to give you guys an idea, basically I would say 97% of what you see is what is known as forumware. It's basically fans of Epic who would make designs of 40K models that for the most part Games Workshop never made. Unfortunately now that's relegated to the dustbin of history, because it's either very hard to get or impossible. A lot of the infantry was custom made for me, and it's all metal. There is a smattering, of course, of Games Workshop models, the bikes mainly, and attack bikes. But mostly everything you see here is basically forumware. I built the army this way basically because I used to play NetEpic a lot. So for those who play that rule set, you will be familiar how things are laid out. But now I'm more interested in my newer Imperius Dominatus rule set, so I kind of last minute change things to fit what I am projecting I'm going to use in that. And finally, as to the cost, well, what you see here, which includes all the custom models, every single thing you hear, and of course, more importantly, the paint job, it comes around to a total of 8,000 US dollars, give or take a couple of hundred. I'm often asked if I would do it again, what would I do? I would say, as for the infantry, I would use Vanguard miniatures models. There are some in the Terminators, which you may have picked up on. It would have been far easier and cheaper to do it that way. So I definitely would recommend them for projects in the epic scale. And of course, none of this would be possible without my dear friend Rich Cox from Whitewash Studios, whose superb painting you see here. So at the end of the day, the video would not have been made, and we could not all enjoy these lovely models unless he had painted them. So hats off to him for his professionalism and superb work. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoyed this journey with me. It's been a long time in coming, and it's actually, if I do say so myself, quite an achievement. Thank you very much, and happy gaming.